Assalamualaikum and hi. In today's video, we're going to talk about one of the key topics under supply chain management, which is the just-in-time system, or commonly known as JIT. Disclaimer: this video was prepared to fulfill the requirements of an assignment for course code MAF651 for the evaluation of our beloved lecturer, Sir Shazali Shaharuddin. But before we begin, let's get to know each one of the members of Group 4. Myself, Nur Fatihah binti Abu Hanifah. The next one is Aimi Nabila binti Abdul Rahman. Continue with Nurul Atika Shahira binti Qasim. And last but not least, Nurul Sharia binti Fazli Shah. So these are what we are going to discuss in this video. This might take some time, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Now, let's proceed with the introduction. Before we jump into JIT in details, let's get the rough understanding of supply chain management. Supply chain management is about the management of the flow of goods and services, and it encompasses all procedures that transform raw materials into finished goods. It entails the active streamlining of a company's supply side processes in order to optimize customer value and obtain a competitive edge. Supply chain management has a huge impact on business. Therefore, it is important to have an efficient supply chain. The just-in-time JIT method has been examined as a significant efficiency increasing outcome in manufacturing processes and as a path to a more efficient supply chain. So what is just-in-time? The concept is to make the entire production system work just with what it requires and to keep the time between stages as short as possible. It involves controlling the flow of inventory into and out of the business in order to reduce inventory levels and increase manufacturing process efficiency. Inventory is usually where the biggest savings are made. Previously, a corporation would keep a warehouse stocked with the parts and raw materials it needs just in case. When the supplies were running short, they will reorder just enough to last until the next supply arrives. The cost reduction was significant since warehousing is quite expensive. They must pay for a large amount of space, power, employees, security, and parts that are simply sitting there, not generating money or providing value to the firm. And this is the essence of just-in-time production. We examine each step of the process and ask if it adds value to the final product. Thus, JIT focuses on having the right things in the right quantity and quality in the right place at the right time.
Just-in-time is the manufacturing production system, and the main objectives are listed below. First, no inventories are stored. So, one of the just-in-time objectives is to reduce or eliminate the storage of inventories. In the old manufacturing production system, the raw material is purchased, products or goods are produced and stored. This concept costs a lot of money to store not only raw materials but also store finished goods. Also, the production process is quite slow as the company might not seeking a new way to improve the process. Therefore, JIT tries to overcome this problem. The production are processed only if there are orders from customer. Second is no material is purchased. In implementing the JIT, the material will not purchase if there are not production. Unlike the old system, the raw material is purchased due to the production forecasting, demand and production. The old system normally has low networking with suppliers, and most of the raw material required during the years are purchased in advance and spend a lot of money and space on storing the raw material and taking care of them. Just-in-time system is trying to overcome this by ensuring that there is a good relationship with the supplier and the raw material are purchased only if there is production. However, this meets this objective. The company that implement just-in-time needs to build a perfect relationship with its supplier, or in other words, supplier could access the company system to understand the demand. Otherwise, supplier may not be able to supply the raw material on time and as required. This is the warning point for the company that wish to implement this system. And lastly is improve the production system. Another main objective of just-in-time production system is to help the company improve the production process.
Before we get further into this, let me explain the history of just-in-time in simpler words. The origin of JIT is in Japan. Its introduction as a recognized method of working is generally associated with the Toyota Automobile Company, with JIT initially referred to as Toyota Production System. I would like to emphasize it here. JIT is a mindset of looking at a production system that is distinctly different from what had previously been done. Taiki Okno was a Japanese industrial engineer and a businessman. He is also known as the originator of JIT method. This production method began during the historical situation that Toyota has faced. After the Second World War, the president of Toyota claimed that they have to catch up with America within 3 years to ensure the survival of Japan's automobile. Taiki Okno began to examine the American industry in detail about their manufacturing method. After he did his research, Okno realized that the manufacturing method used by American industry wouldn't work in Japan. Thus, he devised a new system of production based on the elimination of waste. Based on the system, waste was eliminated by JIT and automation. Toyota recognized that JIT would only be successful if every individual in the organization was involved and committed to it. If the plan and processes were set up for maximum output and efficiency, and if quality and production programs were precisely scheduled to meet demand. It took 30 years to develop, and the implementation of this method aided the automotive manufacturer in optimizing their processes in the response to these challenges, resulting in leaner operations.
Now, we will see on the reason why just-in-time technique is popularly adopted by the corporation. The just-in-time inventory system is popular with small business and major corporation because it provides more efficient use of working capital and enhance cash flow. The JIT system can be especially helpful to small business that are just starting out. It can reduce the amount of capital required to get the business up and running. Companies tie up less money in unused inventory and need less storage space. Obviously, using this sort of inventory method works only if a company has an efficient inventory management system and reliable suppliers.
Usefulness of the technique. First, usefulness is waste reduction. Waste reduction is way faster stock turnover, reduce waste by preventing product from becoming damaged or obsolete while in storage. This will save money by avoiding unnecessary stock purchases and decreasing the need to replace or stock. Second, usefulness of technique is that the firm can save time. It is because they can avoid the build-up of the unfinished product that can occur with sudden changes in demand. Hence, less time is spent on checking and reworking the product of the others, as the emphasis is on getting the work right first time. And lastly is less space needed. The company only needed a small space in saving their goods, so that you don't need as much warehouse or storage space to keep goods if you have a faster stock turnaround. This will decrease the quality of storage that a company needs to rent or buy, freeing up finance for other aspects of the company. Next is the limitation of the technique. Firstly, for the limitation of the technique is unable to meet unexpected orders. It is because there is no spare finished product available to meet unexpected order, so the firm might experience a problem to meet the actual orders needed. Secondly is the firm will have to depend on the supplier. It is because by having to rely on the timeliness of supplier for each order, put the firm at the risk on delaying their customer receipt of goods. So if the firms are unable to meet customer expectation, then they could take their business may lose their customer. And if the stock is not delivered on time to whole production, schedule can be delayed, and this is why it's very important to choose reliable supplier and have strong relationship with them so that the firm can make sure they have a material that they needed to make the customer demand. And lastly is cultural differences have a side as a possible limitation of a JIT system. There exist many cultural difference which may be intrinsically tied to JIT's success. This will be problem that may be difficult to overcome or work around without changes in attitude and worker philosophy, and the magnitude to their impact may be difficult to measure because of their nature.
Now, we will see the steps involved in order to implement just-in-time technique. The first step is design. Process begins with a review of the essential manufacturing building blocks such as product design, process design, personnel and manufacturing planning, and all important manufacturing process. During this phase, technical aspect will be determined based on practice consideration and literature research. This stage is to make strategies to eliminate disruption, minimize waste, and build a flexible system. The next step is manage. This stage includes total quality management TQM review. TQM means that a management framework is based on the belief that an organization can build a long success. This is to ensure that there are continuous improvement throughout the process. By having this management review, we can define the employee's role and duties, then define the measures and statistical quality control in order to stabilize the schedule and checkout load. Also not to be forgotten, the capacity schedule and the level. Next is pull. Pull step is to educate the team on production and to withdraw using signaling method like Kanban so it can review and reduce the lot size of inventory. What is Kanban? Okay, Kanban is a Japanese term of card or visible records which is used to indicate requests for new production or inventory. In simple words, it controls production, progress, and inventory movement. As a consequence, no components or final item is manufactured until they are required. If there is an issue regarding Kanban, then the workstation will remain inactive until being notified. Thus, the concept of pull is to reduce the inventory of work in process. Next is establish. The main key to the success of just-in-time system is the vendor relationship. In this stage, they will review the vendor list. Then they will settle on the preferred suppliers they want, and then they will negotiate contract. After that, they would discuss the lead time on how the delivery expectation they want to ensure that they could rely on the best supplier. This stage is important because the organization can learn on how to use them in the supply chain as a reward to take advantage. The next step is fine-tune. Little changes are made to management in order to attain the greatest or intended results in organization. So in this phase, organization need to focus on determining the inventory needed, review the inventory policies and control. They also need to focus on reducing the inventory movement in order to increase the inventory efficiency. So basically, when it comes to fine-tune, technology is absolutely useful. The required integration, automation, and data collection may all accomplish the correct technology. Next is build. In this stage, they need to inform the responsible team about the skills and capabilities it needs to complete its work. Therefore, the team may be built based on the skills and also capabilities needed. They also need to conduct a team education and also empowerment session to educate the team about the process of just-in-time method. The second last step is refine. It is removing impurities and unwanted alignment from the process. In this phase, they need to refine the entire process to reduce the number of parts and steps in production. They may be refining, standardizing, and reviewing the entire process of just-in-time technique. The last step is review. This is the stage where they need to defining and implementing the quality measures and metrics. In continuous improvement, they may conduct root cause analysis of any problem. They also emphasize the improvement and track the trends to improve every aspect of just-in-time technique.
Today, JIT has been adopted not only by companies in Japan and within the automotive industry, but in production activities worldwide and continues to evolve globally. So we're going to look to successful companies that implement JIT in their businesses. First, the pioneer and the founder of the JIT system, which is Toyota Company. JIT, or originally known as Toyota Production System, was based on the concept of the complete elimination of all waste. The automobile business is extremely capital intensive. This is the driving force behind automakers' effort to reduce expenses through cost-effective business techniques, and as mentioned before, inventory storage was non-added activity that can contribute to bigger savings when being eliminated. Established after years of continual improvement with the goal of delivering vehicles purchased by clients as quickly as possible. When a customer places an order, Toyota receives raw material at the factory only when it is ready to begin production. It leverages its supply chain to ensure that just the part required to make vehicles arrive on time in this manufacturing process. As a result, the amount of inventory is kept to a minimum, lowering expenses. This also allows Toyota to respond rapidly to consumer demands, lowers inventory holding costs. Until today, they still use the JIT system in their business, and it has become one of the critical success of Toyota Company. Other automobile companies that use the JIT system was Tesla, Harley-Davidson, and our national car Proton. McDonald's utilized JIT in its process to address issues such as raw food obsolete in restaurants and the time it takes to complete an order. The company pioneered advanced burger making techniques. They switched to frozen meals and only completed orders after receiving payment and placing them. Before this, they used to pre-cook a batch of hamburgers and leave them under heat lamps for as long as possible before discarding whatever they couldn't sell. As a result, customers could enjoy freshly prepared food. This transition was made feasible by new burger making technology, JIT, that allowed them to cook burgers faster and reduce the time between placing an order and delivering it. As a result, the finished product spent as little time as possible in the inventory. This allows for proper inventory management and waste reduction while providing the highest level of customer satisfaction. McDonald's had to rethink its procurement process as well. By centralizing this process, each branch of their restaurant received raw food supplies tailored to their individual needs. McDonald's was able to minimize costs by reducing restaurant inventory with this strategy. Additionally, because the food is produced fresh and in a short amount of time, customer service and food quality have improved, which is why the JIT approach has been so successful.
Everything has their own pros and cons. Same goes to JIT method. The solution to the traditional mindset of holding safety stock is to increase the data processing involvement in implementation planning efforts. In order to upgrade the JIT system, there must be a statistical process control enhancements that provides timely feedback for engineering and managing tuning. There could be a meaningful contingency planning as a response to defects in critical parts and materials and effective user supply dialogues to support delivery and quality issues. Next, the suggestion solution to the limitation of reduced setup time is to make strategic changes with regard to layout reconfiguration with group technology and adoption of setup time reduction technologies. By introducing statistical changes that require a long post-implementation time period, we can lessen the limitation of excessive work in progress inventory that occurred due to a reduced setup time. In a conclusion, just-in-time manufacturing has both advantages and disadvantages. To make the most of JIT, the benefits and challenges of JIT must be measured and optimized. JIT may not be suitable for batch production, but it emphasizes accurate demand and supply estimation. JIT inventory control necessarily requires collaboration and commitment from both suppliers and manufacturers. In order for the process to run smoothly, companies should use JIT inventory control and maintain long-term supplier-manufacturer relationships with dependable suppliers. So, that's all from us. Thank you to Sir Shazali for listening.